This is Wendy Halley, and you're listening to an unexpected episode of Lucid Cafe. Okay, so there's been a change in plans, on so many levels. Welcome to the bonus flood episode. Hooray! Also known as likely the least listened to episode in the history of Lucid Cafe. So many folks have reached out in the last week to check in on me. It's been incredibly heartwarming. Thank you for that. I thought the best way to connect with all of you would be to just record an episode so that I can tell you the story of the flood. Last week, on Monday, I left the wellness center early because the forecast wasn't great, and my drive into work that day was kind of ominous. The rivers were already swollen and running hard and brown and fast. My focus was really on our house, which didn't fare well back in 2011 when Hurricane Irene paid a visit. Lucid Path Wellness was not even on my radar. But before I left that day, for some reason, I grabbed my drum, the one I use for shamanic work. It was propped up against the leg of a table in the treatment room, and I put it up on a chair. I had to take the interstate home because my normal route was already flooded, but thankfully I made it home okay. And my lovely husband and emotional support Viking, John, was already home. We made a plan to do shifts that night because our sump pump kept getting stuck. Man, I must have gone down into the basement every 10 or 15 minutes to give the sump pump a helping hand. It was a fun night. Nope. But we kept the basement from seriously flooding, so we really thought we dodged a bullet. I woke up the next morning all shaky from too little sleep and eventually went on to everyone's favorite social media platform, the Facebook, to see how the rest of the region fared. It didn't take long to see some really disturbing images of Montpelier, Vermont, which suddenly looked like Venice, Italy. And then I saw a photo of a place that looked crazy familiar, but my brain couldn't place where it was. I looked at another photo, which was taken from a slightly different angle, and then it hit me. I was looking at photos of the parking lot behind my wellness center. It was now a brown lake, with buildings sprouting up from it. The next photo revealed the back of my building, and that's when my heart sank. The accessible ramp that leads to the rear entrance was completely submerged. The water was halfway up the back door. At that moment, I knew that Lucid Path Wellness, in its current incarnation, was done. John and I were able to get into the space the next day after the water receded. The back door was swollen and hard to open, but when it did open, the first thing I saw was the water line on the Energy Genesis door. Not good. I got the EG doors to open and pulled up the mattress, which was waterlogged, and saw pools of water sitting in the subwoofers. Definitely not good. The space had taken on about 3 feet of water. Water is quite a force. It always astounds me when I see the damage a lot of water can do. I walked into the reception area. One side of the love seat was propped up on another piece of furniture. Books were all over the floor. In the other treatment room where I do therapy and healing sessions, the chairs were knocked over and stuff from the other rooms had somehow ended up there. I went over to the chair where I had put my drum 2 days before. The chair was laying on its back, and there was my drum. Somehow it was fine. Maybe the chair floated on its back and served as a sweet little life raft for my drum. In fact, all of the items on my altar, my bones and feathers, all my sacred objects were fine. I'm really thankful for that. So, while I walked in circles, people came, friends of friends, people I don't know, and in one intense afternoon that bled into the evening, they helped clean out the space and dismantle the Energy Genesis. Now it's all sitting on the curb in the front of the building, a sad tableau. So how do you even thank people who just show up and do gross, shitty, disgusting, not fun work without complaints? I don't have words. I just have intense gratitude. I opened the Wellness Center 9 years ago after watching an interview in 2013 with the inventor of the life vessel and energy genesis healing chambers. I had such a strong reaction to the concept of the technology, being immersed in sound and light, surrounded by wood, like you're inside of a giant musical instrument. So I followed my intuition and flew out to Colorado and tried this crazy-seeming healing device and was blown away. So much so that I quit my job as a psychotherapist with the state of Vermont, cashed out my retirement, got a business loan, investors, crowdfunded, and a year later I opened Lucid Path Wellness on State Street in Montpelier. I was determined to make it work. I owed a lot of people a lot of money. The energy genesis itself cost $75,000, so I worked a lot. But I saw how sessions in this healing chamber help people. It's not an exaggeration to say that 98% of the people who tried that machine felt much, much better when they got out. And then when I discovered that combining shamanic healing sessions with energy genesis sessions actually helped integrate the work done in the healing session in a more powerful way, I was psyched. Who knew? I didn't know. Last year, in January of 2022, I had paid off every debt. The business loan, all the investors. It took me 8 years, but when it was all said and done, I had paid back over $97,000. I'm not going to lie, I'm very proud of that. Since last week's flood, there was never a question in my mind about whether or not I was going to reopen. I'm gonna reopen. I don't know how that's going to happen, or when, or where, but I'm pretty relentless, so I'll figure it out. I also know I'm going to need help. I already have my eye on newer, more state-of-the-art sound and light healing technology, and even though my insurance claim was denied yesterday, I'm not deterred. Sad, but not deterred. By the time the fourth person told me that it would make sense to start a GoFundMe campaign as a way to help make this happen, I finally relented. Let me be very frank. I am extremely uncomfortable with this. So once I surrendered to that idea, my wonderful friends Melanie and Claire jumped on it and created a GoFundMe campaign for an obnoxious amount of money. But now that you know how expensive the technology is, hopefully the total needed makes sense. I realize I can't do this alone. I wish I could. I know I can't. If you're able and you'd like to help, there's a link to the campaign in the show notes. Okay, there. I said it. And it felt slightly gross and slightly pathetic because I can hear the desperation in my voice. Ew. Well, all right. I hope you'll come to check out Lucid Path Wellness 2.0 in the hopefully not too distant future. I'm already excited to show you around. Thank you for listening to my sad story, and I still plan to get the official final episode of Season 5 out to you soonish. Until next time.